What's going on? This is Sarah Flash, and let me be the first to welcome you back to Bullet Heaven for Season 2. The first season of Bullet Heaven kicked off exactly a year ago today. Where does the time go? Throughout the 23 episodes that I had filmed, we saw some expected results and quite a few surprises, but in the end, just a lot of good times overall. I enjoyed it so much that I'm here again today. But I'd like to give a couple of shoutouts to some guys that really deserve it.
Just interesting and fun review, and he's got an extensive back catalogue already of awesome reviews, and I guarantee that you won't be disappointed if you check out his channel. He's under 100 subs, which is criminal for the slick operation that he's got going there, so check out Seraxor.
Go ahead and name off some names that I watch on YouTube. There's Kikio Silverton, Pete Dorr, Seraxor Bullet Heaven, The Angry Video Game Nerd, Eternia Boy, and Retrocalypse. My very first handheld system was the Game Boy original.
That's what Seraxor, shmup goodness. This guy, top-notch production. I mean, this guy should be making commercials with the presentation and the quality of his videos, but very informative. The quality is awesome. Some of the, I use him as well as Cyanide Breath Mint and G-Man Defrish as my reference points for shooters that I don't have, or even ones I want to go back and play that I have packed away. So check him out. Seraxor, awesome guy, awesome, and he will comment back too, which is another nice thing to see people communicate with their
So make sure to check out all of those guys' YouTube channels. They're responsible for most of my subscribers. I have a special surprise after this episode, but without further ado, let's get the show on the road. Now you might be saying, what the heck? A hummingbird? Really? But that would be your first mistake, because Kolibri for the Sega 32X, of all systems, is actually a pretty intriguing game. It doesn't exactly follow your typical shmup traditions, but then again, this is a game about a hummingbird on the Sega 32X. This one actually has a lot in common with, say, Geometry Wars, or to an extent, Asteroids, where for the most part you have complete control of where you can move. Created by the same guys behind Echo the Dolphin, it's not as action-packed as, say, Dodonpachi or Radiant Silvergun, but it still comes off as quite challenging in the later levels. It also has a bit of a platformy feel, as in certain areas you'll have to go through a level to pick up a certain item to get through a barrier in another part of the level. Kinda like in Yoshi's Island where you find keys to open doors. The question is it fun? Well, let's take a look at that. As a shooter, Kolibri is pretty darn long with a total of 20 levels. With the vast majority of shoot-'em-up games coming in at under 10 levels, Kolibri instantly makes a name for itself. Thankfully, these levels are quite diverse, with some stages requiring you to destroy all the enemies while others have puzzles in them. And of course, as with all shmups, there's the obligatory scrolling stage as well. Your opposition is diverse, consisting mainly of insects. But as if their shots weren't enough to contend with, There are also other environmental hazards, such as frogs, chameleons, and giant globs of amber. A lot of the later stages are very tricky as well, so it's definitely a game that keeps you on your toes. Thankfully, you have a multitude of power-ups at your disposal in order to get the job done. My favorites are the spread bombs and the homing laser. There's just something so satisfying about a hummingbird that emits a giant snaking particle beam. I need one of those as a pet. Kolibri is a title that really shows how the 32X is a 2D powerhouse. There's a bit of slowdown here and there, but it's not crippling by any stretch of the imagination. Rather than talking to death about how gorgeous this game looks and how it sounds, I'll just let the game do the talking. So how does Kolibri stack up anyway? Let's take a look. In terms of control, Kolibri holds its own with fairly tight control. It's a little off, but it gives you the impression that you're controlling another living thing, which is kind of neat. With 20 stages, the length is surprising, and most of it is extremely challenging as well. On the sound front, some of the actual sound effects aren't exactly the greatest, but a lot of the music is terrific, demonstrating what the 32X can actually do. The visuals are lush and colorful as well, showing that the 32X has a great advantage over the Genesis alone. And on the ingenuity front, it's not exactly the most ingenious game around, but it's not much of a copycat either. Very special thanks goes out to Georgie Boy Zax of Press Pause Radio for donating this copy of Kolibri to Bullet Heaven. If you want to get your own copy of Kolibri, you can usually get it at auction for as little as $25. However, complete copies can go for upwards of $60. For you PAL Mega Drivers out there, the PAL version goes for as much as $300. But if you can get it on the cheap, Kolibri is definitely worth a look, especially if you've got a 32X itching for some shmup action. It's not quite over yet. I promise you a little surprise. Remember the theme to Single Pixel Hitbox? Here's the full version.